Welcome back to our channel. Before we move forward, here's a captivating MLB fact. Cal Ripken Jr. holds the record for the most consecutive games played, with an impressive streak of 2,632 games. Let's dive into our video. Bob Pettit is often considered one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Playing in the NBA during the 1950s and 1960s, Pettit left a lasting legacy on the game with his incredible scoring ability and versatile skill set. But how would he fare against some of the NBA legends of today? In this video, we will compare Bob Pettit's era and playing style to that of modern NBA stars to see how he stacks up. Bob Pettit's era. Bob Pettit played in a different era of basketball. The 1950s and 1960s were a time when basketball was still a relatively young sport, and the rules and style of play were much different than they are today. For starters, the game was much slower paced, with fewer possessions and lower scoring games. This meant that players had to rely more on their half-court offense and individual scoring ability to put points on the board. In addition, the physicality of the game was much higher during Pettit's era. Players were allowed to hand-check and use more aggressive defensive tactics to try to slow down their opponents. This meant that players had to be tough and resilient to succeed in that era of basketball. Playing style. Bob Pettit was known for his scoring ability and versatility on the court. Standing at 6 feet 9 inches, Pettit was a dominant force in the paint, using his size and strength to score consistently around the basket. He was also a great rebounder, averaging over 16 rebounds per game throughout his career. But what set Pettit apart was his shooting ability. He was a deadly mid-range shooter, with a smooth jump shot that was nearly impossible to defend. He also had range out to the three-point line, something that was rare for a big man in his era. His scoring prowess and shooting touch made him virtually unguardable on the offensive end. Comparing to modern NBA legends. Now, let's compare Bob Pettit to some of the NBA legends of today to see how he would stack up in the modern game. One player that comes to mind is Kevin Durant. Like Pettit, Durant is a versatile scorer with a deadly shooting touch. He can score from anywhere on the court and is nearly impossible to stop when he gets hot. But where Pettit may struggle in today's game is on the defensive end. With the pace of the game much faster and the emphasis on three-point shooting and spacing, Pettit's lack of lateral quickness and ability to defend on the perimeter may be a liability. In today's NBA, big men are expected to switch and guard multiple positions, something that Pettit may struggle with. Another player to compare Pettit to is Dirk Nowitzki. Nowitzki revolutionized the game with his ability to stretch the floor as a big man. Like Pettit, he was a deadly mid-range shooter and had range out to the three-point line. He was also a great rebounder and scorer in the paint. However, Nowitzki was much more mobile and able to defend multiple positions, something that would give him an advantage over Pettit in today's game. Overall, Bob Pettit was a dominant force in his era and one of the greatest players of all time. His scoring ability, shooting touch, and versatility on the court set him apart from his peers. While he may struggle in today's NBA with the faster pace and emphasis on defense, there is no denying his impact on the game and his status as a basketball legend.